Namaskar. Hello and welcome. After a month-long clash along the line of control, India and China have now begun to de-escalate forces along the line of control. They have started to retreat in Galwan Valley as well as near the hot springs. This entire clash began early in May. On 4th or 5th of June, in Sikkim state of India near Nathula Pass, as well as near the Pangong Lake, which is a part of Ladakh region. Early in June, there were physical clashes between the Indian and Chinese armies in the Galwan Valley, which actually amplified the whole issue of clashes between the two armies along the line of control. When we look back at these Chinese actions beginning May and June, we should not be looking at it as isolated incidents of border clashes in Tibet or the line of control, but we should look at these as a part of a larger global Chinese strategy. If we look at China and its foreign policy, since the time Xi Jinping has taken over the entire control of policy making in China, I think we notice that China has taken every step, whether it is a military step, or it is diplomatic step, or it is economic step, in order to increase its aggressiveness across the world. Militarily, we could see that their aggressiveness in South China Sea has actually increased. Diplomatic style of China has changed under Xi Jinping, meaning thereby any criticism of Chinese actions is vociferously met with by the Chinese representatives, ambassadors, or otherwise. And economically, China is investing heavily in the Belt and Road Initiative for years now. So we see that China has been trying to change the parameters of global politics as well as its footprint across the world. Among the recent actions the Chinese have taken in this regard, I think we should take note of, first of all, the new law the Chinese government has passed vis-a-vis Hong Kong. The new security law imposes a lot of restrictions on the freedom of the Hong Kong citizens. This again should be understood in a wider perspective of what we call the One China policy. Across the world, there are countries which have recognized People's Republic of China as one single country. However, there are opinions also which regard Taiwan as an independent state, some of which also regard Tibet as an independent state or at least an autonomous region. And there were people who also regard Hong Kong as an example of one country, two systems. By effectively passing a law that takes away the freedoms of the citizens in Hong Kong, China actually has underlined its own One China policy, reaffirming once again that Taiwan or Tibet or Hong Kong is an integral part of China. Secondly, we see that in the recent times, China's aggressiveness in South China Sea is increasing, and they have been conducting early in the month of July, they have conducted military exercises in the South China Sea. Border clashes with India are a part of this larger design, and therefore, we should look at this entire episode as a part of the larger Chinese design and not an isolated incident with India. In last few days, however, opinions in the world about China have been changing. One of the reasons why these opinions have been changing is the spread of the COVID-19 virus across the world. There is a perception, right or wrong, that China has been responsible for the spread of the virus across all the countries in the world, primarily because it did not give the information when it could have helped the world to control the pandemic. Whether right or wrong, these perceptions have resulted in public opinion across the world going against China. What we have seen as a result is during a recent meeting in the World Health Organization, and a resolution was introduced by the European Union in order to conduct a probe in the way the World Health Organization tried to control the pandemic. China opposed this resolution. However, after as many as 130 countries supported this resolution, China actually had to accept, and they have accepted a modified draft of the resolution which calls for independent probe into the way World Health Organization tried to control the pandemic. At a more strategic level, we can see that some kind of realignment of forces vis-a-vis China has already begun to take place. One of these things, and an important thing that we should note, particularly in the context of India, is a summit between the Indian and the Australian prime ministers, which took place earlier this month. This was the first virtual meeting between the prime ministers of the two countries, and a number of agreements were signed on this 4th June meeting. However, one of the agreements actually calls for attention. It is an important agreement. This agreement is known as the Mutual Logistics Support Agreement, which provides for use of the basis of each other for repair and replenishment. So, India and Australia have, by virtue of that agreement, agreed to use each other's basis for repair and replenishment. This is a very important agreement in terms of strategic relations with Australia. During the recent exercise of the Chinese military in the South China Sea, the United States actually sent its naval forces and its vessels in the South China Sea for its own exercise. While the United States did not disclose the exact location of the US battleships, it is quite clear that the message was sent to China that the claim that South China Sea is China's backyard is not acceptable, and the United States wanted to underline the freedom of navigation in the South China Sea. We have also seen recently European countries like France and the United States unequivocally supporting India in its during the clashes with China, especially along the line of control, especially after the Galwan incidents. India has also resorted to improving its relations with Russia in the recent times. This is important because Russia and China seem to be having very good relations with each other. However, the recent agreement that India has signed with Russia, whereby India will be purchasing MiG-29 aircraft as well as the Sukhoi 30 aircraft for its own air force, are extremely important. One, because Russia has agreed to give these aircraft to India at a time when China and India relations are not very good, at a time when border clashes between China and India are taking place, and at a time particularly when India is going to need to reinforce its air force and its presence across the Himalayan border with China. This agreement has a lot of importance. Given the fact that Russia-China relations have been extremely good in the past few years, past decade perhaps, it is important that Russia has agreed to give these equipment to India, and that is why this agreement is important. Is this an indication that the policy of the Indian government is changing? Analysts would like to believe that it has been changing. One of the indications is that India approached countries like United States and France during the crisis, the clashes with China. This is something different from what used to happen earlier on, because India has believed in not taking sides between China and US. However, as the tensions across the line of actual control began to escalate, India actually approached US, and these countries have extended support to India. Another indication of the changing Indian policy has been extending greetings to Dalai Lama on his birthday. And this is important because this may be an indication as some analysts would like to say, that the Indian government may be willing to revisit its one China policy. And I think that is an important change, if at all it happens, in the Indian policy. One can actually see change in the Indian policy at the tactical as well as the strategic level. At the tactical level, in last 2 or 3 days, the Indian government has started de-escalating. One, they have lowered the rhetoric against the Chinese government, at least in the public domain. Secondly, the patrolling in the buffer zones along the line of actual control on both sides. So there is a mutual suspension of patrolling along the line of actual control by both sides. The third thing the Indian government has done is they have maintained troops in the depth of the line of actual control. So that means that the troops are still deployed, but they are in the depth. They are not actually along the line of actual control. And the fourth thing is increased surveillance. They have decided to increase and make continuous surveillance along the line of actual control, which means that any Chinese action, any Chinese deviation from what has been agreed will be immediately detected thanks to the surveillance effort that has been stepped up. At the strategic level, we can see that India has approached the like-minded countries. However, we can say that the policy can be further changed. While both China and India have decided to do these de-escalation efforts, at the strategic level, the Indian government will have to make long-term efforts vis-a-vis China. One of the things that I would like to recommend is to give new life to the Quad experiment. Now that the Quad experiment is actually settled, it is time to take it further. Quad is currently limited to economic activity. Quad is currently limited only to mutual discussions and debates between the four partners. During the pandemic time, one other experiment was conducted of Quad plus 3. However, now it is time for India to take the Quad experiment further and try to take it to the strategic level. The second thing India perhaps should be doing, and with a strategic aim in mind, is to step up its activity and presence in the Indo-Pacific. There are a number of countries in the Indo-Pacific which would welcome this by India. Our naval diplomacy, our help to these countries, giving, let us say, push to projects like Sagar and extending it from Indian Ocean region to also Indo-Pacific region, all these things will in fact extend the Indian footprint in the Indo-Pacific region, and perhaps that is something India should be doing with a strategic aim. China is not an easy country to deal with. China always thinks strategically. China thinks 10 years ahead. And unless, as a country, our policymakers begin to start thinking ahead, start thinking for the next 5 years, start thinking for the global strategy of India, I think it will be very difficult in the near future to take on China. Thank you.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.